Hello there, Cas fans. My name's James. I've been wanting to do this for a while, to be honest with you, but I've not either had time or had enough balls to do it, so I'm just going to see how this goes. Yeah, I just sort of wanted to speak about Cas over the last couple of years, really, and my experiences with, going down to the ground and speaking with Danny and a few others down at the ground, really. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've pardon my language, but we've been a shit show, haven't we? Really, it's not been fun to watch. It's been dreadful, really, at times. You know, I've gone to games and stuff and just had to force myself to go. I'll stay there. It's been that bad. And I'd had enough. You know, my son was born the other year and he's 18 months old now, and I just thought, I've had enough of watching them. I'm going to put my time and money into other interests, but used to email Danny Wilson a lot, complaining to Danny, and then he invited me for a coffee down at the ground, and it's the best thing I ever did. I went and met Danny and just said to him about the direction of the club, where do we sort of see ourselves, and just wanted a few answers and stuff like that. And Danny were really open and honest. He didn't have to invite me down for a coffee and take up his time. He's a very, very busy man, is Danny. But yeah, I went and met Danny, and it really changed my perspective, sort of the club, of Danny, and the direction that we are heading. It's only until you speak to people at the club and you realise just how badly we have been run as a club, as a business over the last couple of years. It's been shocking, really. We could have quite possibly ended up like the situation that Salford's in, up until Martin came in. Yeah, it's just a lot of things that we went down, and Danny's telling me about players that we could, top players that we wanted, like sort of there wasn't at the time, but now they've turned into top players that's playing in top 6, top 7 teams. Arguably some of the best players in the league that we'd missed out on. Danny had agreed, and for whatever reason, for before Martin came in, they just didn't get signed off. A lot of people bash Danny for some of the players that he has signed or taken a punt on, but until you realise the finances that we was working with, Danny had no other choice but to sort of take a punt on a lot of these guys. It makes me laugh at times where people bash Danny for his recruitment and stuff, but do you not think he would have wanted to take a punt on an 100 grand plus player? But he hadn't had that luxury up until Martin's coming. Then obviously Chesley's coming now, and he's doing that role. And the players that we have signed, Blake Taff and Ravawala and Valame, that's off the back of Martin's investment, really. And obviously Chesley's got his very good ties, hasn't he, in Australia? But people just don't really understand how badly we have been, sort of run over the last couple of years. Martin's going to make a few mistakes and stuff. Danny's made a few mistakes, so will everyone. But after going down to the ground twice, we're in a very good place. The club now is, they're quite willing to listen to fans. I've had a couple of people message me on Twitter and stuff like that for questions that they want me to put forward to the club, and the club's listened. One of the first things I said to Danny is about like bonfire night. Why were that taken away? And Danny's listened to me. I'm going to take credit for that. And the club's announced it. They've put it back on for this year. Just things like that we've completely lost over the last under the old regime. We've lost touch with the fans, and that's something that we need to heavily focus on, is the connection between the fans and the club. Use that to our strengths, but. Yeah, a lot of people have got an opinion, and I see Danny get bashed a lot online, but he's a really good guy, and it must be half decent at his job, because RFL approached him to go work for England. He said in an interview with start of the year with Matthew Shaw. But yeah, and then the club's in a really good place. It didn't help that we got bashed by a lot of journalists on Twitter and stuff, saying they didn't think we was going to be in Super League the other year. That didn't help things. I think that put off a lot of players and agents about bringing coming here to Cas. But yeah, a lot of good things are happening, like with the new sponsorship of the stadium. stuff like that, players we've got for next year. I mean, I don't think people's talking about Ryan Carr enough. I think that's a brilliant appointment. It was only a couple of years ago Leeds wanted him. A lot of Leeds fans wanted him permanently as the coach, and I think it's a brilliant appointment. I think there'll be, just my opinion, I've not heard anything, but I think there'll be a lot of changes sort of round coaching staff as well, who Ryan Carr brings in and stuff like that. And for me, we've got Chris Chester, who's got the blueprint of building a team from absolutely nothing to we're a league now. The second, third, they've won a Challenge Cup. But we've got that investment now, thankfully, to Martin. We've got that investment now where we can bring in the players that we have done recently. And I think, there's still a few more to get announced, and we're shaping up nicely for next year. I just can't really explain to you how badly we have been run over the last so many years. Not a lot of people have got a clue. But, we're getting there slowly. A lot of things to be positive about. It's interesting as well, Danny had said to me over a month that all these clubs like Wakefield last year, Lee, when they was in the Championship, when they've gone through a rebranding or a new ownership, they've done it whilst they're winning championships. They've been winning every week, so obviously that creates positivity, and we haven't. Martin's come in and we've had all these changes, but so while we've been losing every week, so it's been difficult to sort of build some positivity. But without Martin coming in, there's no doubt that we would have probably, I dread to think where we would have been. But yeah, the players that we have signed for next year, all of them that's been announced and still to be announced, they all walk into our starting 17. I think you can there's no argument about that. They're going to make us a lot stronger. But yeah, it's a lot to be positive about for next year. If anyone's got any questions, drop it in the comments, and like the video and let me know what you think. First time doing this, I'm a bit nervous doing it, but yeah, if anyone's got any questions, just drop it in the comments. See ya.